of all the areas that you wanted to see your team improve upon, did it tick most of those boxes here today?
Yeah, I thought for most of the game for sure. You know, one of the things we talked about was having a better start, you know, being proactive as opposed to being reactive. The last few games we've given up early leads. We fought back, but the point is that, you know, we've got to be better at the start of the drop of the puck, and I've always been a strong believer that that's a mindset. I thought the guys did a great job tonight. We get the first goal, but it didn't end there. I thought we had a strong first period. I thought the special teams were better. Although we gave up a goal, I think there was improvement there. The power play for sure. I thought they made good decisions, and there was pace and tempo to their execution. Yeah, so I think there were a lot of, you know, movement in the right direction, progress.
I know we ask a lot about Gabe Perau and the game-over-game improvement, but here's another one here, and he's involved seemingly in most of the action tonight, right?
Yeah, he had a strong game tonight. You know, Mika's goal, 5-on-5, he gets in on the forecheck. You know, he's the first guy, finishes a check, create a stalled puck, laughs the second man of the battle. You know, that second man quick we talk about all the time, and Laf makes a nice play to Mika, but Gabe gets in on the forecheck and forces the turnover and the stalled puck. So, you know, that element of his game, I think, was evident tonight, but, you know, obviously his playmaking ability was on display also. The behind the backdoor play to Mika was pretty special on the power play.
You mentioned the power play before, but the way you guys were making plays throughout the entire game, was the key for the night in terms of the way the power play was so successful on the set tonight?
Well, I thought we made good decisions and there was execution, and so usually when that happens, good things happen. You know, we've got a lot of talent out there, and you know, I thought we did a good job handling their pressure. They're an aggressive kill. We used the bumper really well. I thought Troach was great in the bumper position to relieve a lot of pressure. Foxy made great decisions up top. You know, and those guys, they make plays. You know, when they're on their game, those guys are hard to handle on the power play. I thought they did a great job tonight.
Lava gets the goal early, but it felt like even beyond that, his line was pretty on top of it, and he was out there on the PK more. Just what are you seeing out of the way he's continuing to develop?
Yeah, so obviously we're trying to give him a more prominent role here on the penalty kill in particular, and just giving him more reps and giving him an opportunity to continue to grow in that area. We've paired him with Tai Cartier on the kill. Those guys have been pretty good. Loves is pretty good in the face-off circle, so if he can win that first face-off, it really helps. You know, you get a 200-foot clear and you're stingy on the entry, it goes a long way to helping you kill penalties. So we're trying to put him in a more prominent role there. I thought his whole line played really well tonight. I thought they were on pucks. They play the right way. You know, they win puck battles. They make good decisions. They're hard to play against. They work to get above the attack. They hunt pucks in the offensive zone. I thought they had a strong game.
You continue to be, I mean, you touched on this, but pretty pleased with Cartier's game since he's been here.
Yeah, we've really liked Ty's game. You know, he can skate. He's got a simple game. He plays north-south. He checks well. There's a physical dimension to his game. He finishes checks. He's abrasive. He's willing to take hits to make plays. We've really liked how he's fit in.
Laf, the offense has kind of continued to come in these recent weeks. Just what has allowed him to, I guess, find that a little more consistently in your eyes?
Yeah, it's probably a better question for Laf than it is for me. I think, you know, I think he's hanging on to pucks in the offensive zone. He's making good decisions when he has it. You know, he's staying close in the offensive zone. We talk about that all the time. I know sometimes he gets mad at me because I get on him about it, about just staying closer to his line mates in the 50-50 puck battles, in those contested pucks when teams, you know, when they collapse coverage, it's a math equation. You know, if they have more numbers than you do around the puck, you're going to lose it. And so, you know, we talk a lot with him about just supporting the puck, staying connected to his line mates. I think he's doing a much better job there. As a result, they're spending more time in the offensive zone. But, you know, I think he's making plays. He's on pucks. He's hanging on to pucks. You know, Laf's a talented guy. He sees the play really well. He has good offensive instincts. You know, I think he's had pretty good performances for us most recently.
Do you sense less deferral in his game now that guys like Artemi isn't around and JT too is out right now?
once again, it's probably a better question for him than it is for me. But I do think he probably looks around and says, you know, this team needs me to generate some offense and make an impact on the game. You know, not just offensively, his overall complete game, but in particular on the offensive side. So, but that would be a better question for him.
With him, Perau, and Mika, it seems like that line the last few games has generated a ton. Just what about those three together allows them to generate?
I think they have, you know, there's complementary skill sets in the sense that they're a little bit different in what they bring. Although I think the common denominator is they all have pretty good offensive instincts, so they all see it pretty well. You know, Mika is a real cerebral player, and he plays on both sides of the puck, so he's very conscientious. He knows when he needs to stay above the puck or he needs to retreat, and he's good in our own end. He's good down low. Mika and Laf are strong on pucks in the offensive zone, their ability to protect pucks and hang on to pucks, and I think Gabe is getting better in that regard. You know, I think Gabe's building confidence. I think he's, you know, when his confidence grows, he hangs on to pucks. He's got a higher panic threshold in the sense that he doesn't just throw pucks away. He protects them. He hangs on to them. He waits for help. He's looking to make plays. But he's not a high-risk player. Having said that, he's still recognizing when, you know, you just got to chip a puck in and make a simple play. So, you know, I've said this on so many occasions, and I believe it. You know, I think with Gabe, experience is the best teacher because he has a high aptitude and he's learning on the job, so to speak, literally. So, you know, I think that line has played pretty well. I didn't think they were quite as good in Jersey. I thought they had a real good game tonight, but I think they've had some pretty good games together.